Okay, I would like to continue where we were last week. And we're in Tofresh Ayin Ches. That's where we were. All right. If yesh lo ner shel Shabbos ve'en lo ner Chanukah, le'akir Havdalah yikner shel Chanukah mishum persuin nisa. V'hu adin ner Chanukah koden l'yayin ha'Havdalah. All right. Now, Mishabura says the Hainu ner echad. Oh, another time, just light one candle for. You just light one candle for Shabbos because that's all you need. The b'diavad, the bare bones halacha. That's all that you need. Mishum pernis the kiddush hayom halo yochol kaddish bepas the malav kiddush hayayin urach b'rabanon u'minatar yetzu b'schiras dvorim ba'alma koydem yayin avdala mishum haytaimu vayin le'il v'enu niskar sham yesim kan b'nisach lam kilakhan. Okay, now the next halacha is fascinating. And I'm going to share with you a Prima Godim, which does not say in the Mishnah Berurah. The Mishnah says not like that. But a fascinating Prima Godim about lighting on Erev Shabbos. I'm going to start off with a Hilchos Shabbos question. A Hilchos Shabbos question. And there's such a thing as Tosfos Shabbos. Yom Kippur, Tosfos Shabbos, Masifa me Chol Moichisen Mechol Al Kodesh Mechosifin. Right, so you add on to Shabbos, and you make Shabbos greater. The halacha of Kiddush is a mitzvah d'oraisa. The Rambam holds that Tosfos Shabbos is a d'rabbanan. Can one make Kiddush on before Shkia? Got the setup of the question? Tosfos Shabbos is a d'rabbanan. Kiddush is a d'oraisa. You obviously can't make Kiddush on Thursday, right? And kazeh davar. Excuse me? Do you know that? I didn't know that. What do you know about Rabbi Yehuda? He says you could daven Ma'ariv then. He didn't say it's night. Ma'ariv is Ma'ariv. Ma'ariv doesn't make it night. Tell me something. If Rabbi Yehuda's wife had a baby after he davened that plug, when would make the bris? The Trumas Hadeshin asked this question.
And another bris, the whole business of it's Mario, but it's not night.
It's hard to understand. I don't. The truth of the matter is that we're not right now learning Hilchos Ma'ariv, and we're not learning Hilchos Shachris. But after Alois, you could daven Ma'ariv and Shachris, right? And that's nothing to do with Rabbi Yehuda. That has to do with the time that people are sleeping, but it's already the next day. So what do we see? That times of prayer have to do with maybe it's based on the concept of day and night, but there's time slots that it doesn't necessarily have to go together. Now, this question which I asked over here really is what I call a cheap trick, because there's a halacha that if a person has to be machshech ala tchum Motzei Shabbos, so he's allowed to make havdalah after plug. Not about that walking, but he's allowed to make havdalah before Shabbos is over. There's nobody that says that you can, even Rabbi Yehuda, havdalah. The people in England, this is a fascinating question. This was written about 70 years ago. The people in England wanted to, and this is, I don't know what goes on nowadays, but when I was younger, and I still knew what was going on, like all kinds of interesting places. So in Sunday in the Cheder, they make havdalah for the kids, because the kids go to sleep before. Where do you come from? You come from London? Okay. That's not so bad. Where do you come from? Manchester. That's much worse, right? That's like an hour difference. Well, how much difference is it? Now you're talking a place I'm familiar with. Okay, now I haven't been in St. As a matter of fact, I was in St. Petersburg as many times as I was in Manchester. If you really want to know the truth. Okay. Anyways, but the concept over here is that Chas v'shalom. The candle has nothing to do with Havdalah. Havdalah is alikos when Yom Kippur, when Tisha B'Av falls out on Motzei Shabbos, like it did this year, if I'm not mistaken, right? So we made Havdalah when? Motzei Yom Kippur. And when did you light the candle? Right here in Shul, before Eicha. So obviously it has nothing to do with Havdalah. That's the anniversary of fire being created, if you want to just without getting too involved. But it doesn't do with Havdalah. Besamim have to do with the loss of Rosh Hashanah. Also has nothing to do with Havdalah, so to speak. It's not part of the Havdalah. It's part of the loss of Shabbos. But anyways, the halach is that you can make Havdalah on Shabbos. There's no dispute about that. So Prima Gadol explains that what you have to delineate when Shabbos comes in, it means it's around the time when Shabbos is coming in. It doesn't have to be on Shabbos. Period. It doesn't have to be on Shabbos. Then this has nothing to do with Tosfos Shabbos and nothing to do with Rabbi Yehuda. It doesn't do with anything. It has to do with, when it's around that time. Okay, that's a fascinating. We only have one Vasikan person over here, right? Everybody else is what I call normal, right? We have one Vasikan person. So they say over from the Chazon Ish that those people who daven Vasikan, they have it, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. They're Oisa Tzilasa Kiva. You're not supposed to be thinking about the clock. You're supposed to be thinking about davening. Okay. Now, I'm not getting involved in that subject, but the Chazon Ish himself, he held that Vasikan doesn't go by the milliseconds. It's a Ba'erach kind of thing. Now, I have much to say on that subject, whether that's probably makes sense. He should hold something similar to that. But we know that in the base of Mikdash they had a Nevreshet, they had a mirror that went to the Yam HaMelech, and that's how they decided when the sun rose. They said Barkoi is a Mishnayos in the word. You were actually not getting involved in. I'm not getting involved in the subject of the subject, but the bottom line is that Kiddush, the Prima Gadol's answers, Kiddush can be made not on Shabbos. Midoraisa. You don't need to come on to Rabbi Yehuda. What about? I'm going to start from the Bar Mitzvah drasha. What about a Bar Mitzvah boy who becomes Bar Mitzvah on Shabbos Chanukah? When does he light candles? What did I say? When does Shabbos get skewed the first day? that's pretty bad. What? Okay. All right. Can I ask you a question? This is all a warm-up to get to the thing. None of us over here are becoming Bar Mitzvah, at least as far as I know. Person to light Hanukkah candles, plug. You have it. Can you say a Shechianu? Oh, because it could well be that the Shechianu is on the Chag. The Bir Alocha, the Sha'ar Tzion says that person who forgot to say Shechianu all of Hanukkah, and he remembers on the 8th day in the morning, he brings a theory that you could say Shechianu. Huh? Yeah, but when you light your candle at Plag on Erev Chanukah, there is no Yom Tov.
There is. It's around the same time.
That's what I'm proposing a question. I'm proposing a question. That's a brain teaser question. Okay, now that we're going to approach the subject over here. All right. Why do we do it in that order? If you lit Shabbos candles first, so then compulsory Shabbos was chal. We're going to get there. We have to wait 3 lines. Okay?
When they're not Shabbos candles, the woman will be Shabbos.
Okay, let me 4 lines.
So she for sure takes the Shabbos.
Okay, well, so let's finish, and then we'll let you all vent your problems, and then we'll try to make some seder over here, even though all the problems are wonderful. Okay, and there is no connection between the two. Okay, im hidlik shel Shabbos v'lo kibul Shabbos v'machshavtoi. You could do it in the other order. It works that way too. Okay. Okay. That's about a man. I will isha madlekes. Kiven shaminig stoma mikabel Shabbos ba'alakoso. Since the norm is that women are mikabel Shabbos when they light. V'imkein lo tadlik shuv shel Chanukah. She should not light Hanukkah candles if she already lit Shabbos candles. She should tell somebody else to light for her. He makes the bracha.
Doesn't have the combination of a man and a woman. Have a man like Shabbos candles and Hanukkah candles. A woman doesn't have a woman like Shabbos candles and a man like Hanukkah candles, which is it usually happens.
Oh,
because it's obvious.
It's. I'm not sure I know what to comment on what you're saying because there are many things to say, but yes, it's true. That's usually it works out that way. But lechatchila could be that we want that he should light when a time when she could light also. Right. It's like she's lighting. And that's the bottom line, the answer to that question. The oireyam gadol, the davka achar plag mincha, shusha v'reva koydem alayla. K'moshe Gosbus Tofresh Ayin Beis. Ukvar kasavnu b'shem achronim. The tzorach litem bo shemen ad sheyadlich chatzisha achar tesech bechov. This line gets me hopping mad. And I'm going to explain myself. I'll calm down. Mr. Shem will calm down soon. Okay. V'akaponim ye'achas me'en delekes Shiur azois v'kosu achronim denocham l'chatchila she'espal min l'chatchila v'achach yadlik. And why is that? Because we want it to be like it's already the day is done. Because you're going to light down mincha after. Right? What? but really, my whole introduction was to make it clear that all these things aren't interlocking really.
It's true, but when you're Hanukkah candle, lighting Hanukkah is supposed to be by night, and Mincha is supposed to be before night. So it's a bit of a opposite way around.
But if you didn't daven Mincha, they'll tell you daven Mincha anyways, right? So get your head screwed on straight. Who knows what kind of halacha is this? So I would like to ask a question. I don't know what plaga mincha is. Maybe you guys are more learned than me. You have a better understanding of what plaga mincha is. But I know that, and even if you held like the Rabbanan, you didn't hold Rabbi Yehuda, you still lit candles, Hanukkah candles on Erev Shabbos, right? Mm-hmm. With what mechanism? Huh?
Match.
Thank you. You're old-fashioned. The guy who doesn't have a pen, you should know that it's one of those electronic things that goes, right? What's a match? Anyways, Anyways, right? You have a match. You don't have one of those either.
Mechanism, the because you have no other choice.
No, I'm not. I don't accept that. B'diavad only if that venue exists. According to Rabbi Yehuda, according to the Chachamim, a guy who davened Ma'ariv at Mincha at Plag Mincha is as good as davening Shachris at Plag Mincha. He did nothing. So according to the Rabbanon, there is no such thing as Plag Mincha. So when, Mr. Rabbanon, when do I light Hanukkah candles on Erev Shabbos?
You have no choice but to before Shiur.
So Chatzos. What kind of time?
No, because it's back the time.
Oh, you mean like we said? That's like we said about the Kiddush according to the Rambam. Okay, I accept that. But in other words, it has nothing to do with Plag Mincha of Rabbi Yehuda. It's conveniently the same time, but it's a different concept. Okay, I'm willing to accept that. Let's take this a step further. Okay. How long do Hanukkah candles have to burn for? Okay. Okay. I'm right now quoting more or less the Pri Megadim, and I'm going to say that all of you took a liberty, and I'm going to say they have to burn for a half hour. On Erev Shabbos, so I would like to ask you a question. If a person would have a long fuse, okay, and he lights the fuse over here, and it takes 3 minutes to get to over there, when does he make the bracha? So turn your brain on and think about it. When do you make the bracha?
Not when he lights the fuse.
Not when he lights the fuse. What mitzvah? It's a fuse that's going to light the fire.
That's how I'm lighting my fire.
Well, the candle starts burning, right? Until then, it's not part of the candle. I just want to tell you something. I went once to take Maim Shalanu, and there was this brisker guy there before me, and I asked him, when is Shkia? So he said, if I'm not mistaken, he said 5:23 and 43 seconds. Something like that. He wasn't sure exactly what time it was, or something like that. 5:30. I may have the time wrong exactly. So I asked him, can I take before him? Because I take Maim Shalanu before Shkia. He said, fine. And then I finished, and I watched him with his watch, a stopwatch, and it came 5:23 and 43 seconds. And he's standing there doing nothing. Waited another 6 seconds, and then he took Maim Shalanu. So I said to him, what are you doing? She says, I've taken on time. I said, you're 6 seconds late. I'm not 6 seconds late, because the water comes out of the rock to where I'm able to grab it. I timed it. It takes 6 seconds for me to get it. So if I would take it on time, I'd be early, right? Didn't you figure that out? Okay. There's always another piece to figure out, right? So there's a question, and it seems, Yechiel, that should be for you, right? That's good. Anyways, the Pri Megadim seems to say that you only have to light for a half hour. And on Erev Shabbos, which this time is a new time, it's not Hanukkah candle time. It doesn't have to burn for more than a half hour. Even though it's not burning, this is seen from the Pri Megadim, even though it's not burning a half hour after, whenever the Zman Halakas Neres Hanukkah is, which I don't want to get involved in that right now, but Erev Shabbos has its own time. And its own time, half an hour in its own time. What? Its time is from Pagah B'Chesh, right? Right. Now, if you think that this is, 1 second, no, this is machlek sachreinim on this issue. But now I just want to tell you something. It's a fascinating question. Matzah Shabbos. Now, I want to tell you something. I don't like to brag in public, but I want to tell you something that I could do better than Rebitzel Petterberger. Rebitzel Petterberger, this is fascinating. Rebitzel Petterberger, when Petterberg held Rebbeinu Tam, when he moved to Yerushalayim, he held like the Geonim, and he would daven Ma'ariv, finish Ma'ariv, go home and light, toch chatzi shah from Shkia. Okay? How much oil does he have to put in? So this is actually a whole meduber nachreinim. If you're putting in less time, it has to burn to half hour after Shkia. So maybe you only have to put in that small amount. That's what the inami l'shiuri in the Gemara is. But so he, from Rosh Chodesh Cheshvan, when he would walk in the street and he didn't have anything to do, he used to practice davening Ma'ariv quickly, so that he should be able to do it on Motzei Shabbos Chanukah with kavanah. So I'm able to do it quickly, better than him. Okay, so I found
The half an hour is because of Tichler and Mashuk, right?
that was the time.
So on Friday night, there's no Tichler and Mashuk.
Oh, that's a wonderful question, and I'm not going. This is not a mimer on Chanukah. This is a halacha shiur. So Achechala regel of the people who discuss this in the Mishna are goyim from the shuk. And this is discussed in the Sifrei Drush. That has to do. It has to do with that. But the Gemara actually discusses those people that are there. Anyways, this is a good question. Very good question. Anyways, so this I just saying this is a point that I wanted to share with you. It's not so clear. How could you make a bracha? It's not this Zman of the mitzvah. Because I'm coerced to do it now, does that make it this Zman of the mitzvah? There has to be a mechanism to do that. Now, I'm just expanding on this tzad in halacha. I'm going to tell you right now, the briskers, who they are the super machmirim always. They usually do the exact opposite of everybody else. That's like usually. They have absolutely no issue with Motzei Shabbos Chanukah to light right away. People like Rabbi Ashiv and Rabbi Shlomo Zalman that held Rabbeinu Tam the rest of the year, Motzei Shabbos Chanukah, they lit candles at regular Yerushalayim Standard Time. Each one to their own Yerushalayim Standard Time. We're not going to involve when that is, because there was Zman Pesumeni, so you have to do it at the right time. Briskero says it can't be, because even their Zman is a half hour, is after the time. It must be that Motzei Shabbos and their Shabbos have a different time. It can't. What do you want to rush to light? Let's say Shabbos is over at 37 minutes after Shkia. So the whole week you're lighting at 30 minutes after Shkia. So when is the Lechatchila Zman over? At 30. If you're lighting at 40 minutes, 50 minutes, 60 minutes, 72 minutes, what's the difference? There's absolutely no reason to rush on Motzei Shabbos. This is the brisker position. This is the exact opposite of everybody else. Everybody else is in a bad rush to get there, and we just say, where are you going? Where's the there that you're going to? Okay, so I'm just pointing out this idea of when is this man is a serious issue. All right. Next 7. Belel Shabbos tzarich liten shum davar chutz ben haneres lePesach b'shil haruach shelo yechabe. This is very important. This is important halacha. Most of us don't have this issue so much, but you have to make sure that you don't cause them to blow out. They're just going to say with the machaber, it's important. All right. I get asked every year this following question, and I have an opinion. I'm going to share my opinion with you. People have these glass boxes that they put their menorah into. What is the purpose of the glass box? Stop the wind. That's a purpose.
Maybe to make it look nice.
Maybe to make it look nicer, prevent the fire. And also, many people have it to prevent children from touching it. What's the difference? Why am I asking this question? I forgot to close the door for the glass thing. May I close it on Shabbos? So this depends why the glass door is there. If the glass door is only to service the things on the inside, according to many, it's muksa. If it's also to service the outside, then it's not muksa. So I'm just going to, and this is relevant. I've seen Rabbanim Paskin, something which I think is 100% wrong, and I've seen many architects that agree with me. Over here, you go outside, we have an electric box. The electric box in the hall next to the bathroom is an electric box. The electric box has a door on it. What's the purpose of the door?
People sticking their hands and playing with fingers.
What? So how do I know that's also aesthetic? You go to many places and they have it all finely designed, right? And it's big, it's there. It looks not nice. It's not nice to have these fuses in the middle of a room. So that's there not to protect the fuses only. It does that too, but it's also there. And then the big nafkamina is if that door is open, you're allowed to close it. If it's there, its purpose is to protect the thing, then it's muksa. According to some, that's called a buses. Part of the buses, but it's something external. So this question is a question about these candles, the boxes. And that's what I'm saying. This over Erev Shabbos also like for neres badelas atzma chore adelas yeshishim. What? I think you can close it. I think you can close it. I think it's dual. I think it's dual purpose. It's there used to be a radio commercial for the Bronx Zoo. It said that this is the place where all the animals of the world come to see the New Yorkers. See the New Yorkers. So, who's keeping who to where, I don't know, all of Manhattan could be, it's just like, one big jungle. Anyways.
Saying you're not actually lighting within the doorway, lighting in the box. It's only door.
I don't know anybody who discusses that issue, but I think that's the Seder for two reasons. It's a very nice question. I like the question. I'm just going to answer the question with an analogy. It's a fascinating question. In the Sefer Mora Shabbos, I think the third chelik, there's a bunch, about 35 tshuvas from Shlomo Zalman Auerbach. And one of them goes as follows. Here in Shul, so we, for a variety of reasons, use these pre-made cups to light Hanukkah candles. I assume that we're going to allocate funds for that this year too. Okay, now, Moshe Feinstein and other poskim say that Chad Pami cups don't have a din of a kli. The Maral says, this is a lot of pieces put together. The Maral says that the ner of Hanukkah, the word ner in Ivrit means a candle. The word ner in Lashon HaKodesh means a receptacle that you light a wick in. It's not a candle, it's a ner shel cheres. A ner is a Yeah, I don't know yeah, but it's a receptacle that you use
Lamp.
as a lamp. That's it. Thank you very much. Okay. All right. So the Maral says that the ner of Hanukkah is not a Ivrit ner, it's a Lashon HaKodesh ner. It's composed of 3 different components, and the receptacle is part of it, and the Chidah has in Birkei Yosef, Birkei Yosef, he has a list of what it should be, if gold, silver, has a list of adifut of what the ner should be made out of. So the question that was asked of Shlomo Zalman is, these Chat Pami guys, maybe they don't have a din of a ner because they're nothing. Now, to make matters worse,
They're actually worth quite a lot more.
quite a lot more than what?
Must be they're worth more money.
Than what?
I'll say cheap.
I was saying, are they going up in price this year? These also the plastic Chat Pamis that are going up in price. It's a very important question. Yeah, I understand, but there are ones that you can't either. The ones that are made out of glass and you break off the top. Those are the ones that work the best, actually. It's like a blown glass thing, and because they're great because you could store them. They don't spill. They're spill proof. The top of it is scored, and it comes with a piece that you put on top of it, and you break it off like a test tube. It's a really, really neat guy. Always.
It's real oil.
Yeah. Yeah. It's scored. You ever saw it?
Sure.
That's
I
what
think those were the original ones.
they were the original ones.
Cheap
Yeah.
ones.
Yeah. So we have different problems with that. Different problems with that. There's Rabbi Yasha's problems with that. Right? It has to be daima to that which was done in the Mishkan, in the Mikdash, which was liquid, or not. Whatever. There's always going to be an issue.
But if the Chat Pami cup, even if it's made out of plastic, whatever it is, if it itself is going into a receptacle in the menorah that theoretically could hold oil, and you just don't want to mess it up, so you're using that thing, would that theoretically solve the problem?
That's where we're going. So there are those that discuss the whole concept of a person who has a silver menorah. Why does a person have a silver menorah? So there's a question. Usually it's because his colleague gave it to him. That's I don't know why a person has one. But the reason why one would have a silver menorah is because of this idea that it goes into the ner, and it's a more chashuv than ner to have a silver menorah, and therefore the question arises: is it called I lit in a silver menorah when I have these Chat Pami cups in them? So there are many points to what? Right. So it's a question: what is it called? Where did you light? So here, I'll just say many of the places can say that since it's there just as a protector, or it's there as a whatever, really the menorah is the silver menorah. As I usually say, Oshaken, Oshalo. You have to have a good riot to convince me one way or the other. It's not, it's far from clear to me one way or the other. But I know that people, because of that, they light directly into the silver menorah. They don't use these cups. Fine. But the bottom line is, if Shlomo Zalman says that's not called a Chat Pami if it's good and it's just thrown out because you're lazy. Now, just to accentuate this, I'm just saying this over because there's a lot of Torah Shebal Peh, which I was able to hear, that's important to know. Rav Moshe Feinstein has a tshuva about making kiddush in a Chat Pami cup, and I said this over here. Yeah, I did. His nephew. Okay, I'll go sit. Right. So he made a Sheva Brachas and he gave Rav Moshe the bench and a Chat Pami thing. And Rav Moshe said, in short, it's absolutely fine. I wasn't speaking about these Chat Pami ones. These Chat Pami ones are, no, it's.
Was Rav Moshe himself?
Yeah. This is very important because you can go to Asheron and buy Chad Pami silver bechers, right? What are they? They're Chad Pami. But they're choshev, they're okay. So Shlomo Zalman says that these Chad Pami things are not called Chad Pami as far as the Salach is concerned. All right. Now, yeah. Okay. We'll see. It'll last as long as the plastic bags people bringing things to the Makolich for. It settles in that's the price. Because I said, as far as the government is concerned, instead of raising the price on sugared drinks, why don't they lower the price of non-sugared drinks? The answer is because their interest is principle. That's the answer. Anyways, all right. You're going to move it, and those who want to close these boxes of these things, you have to be careful that it's many times these things are hanging quite precariously. You have to make sure you're not going to change the ratio of space between the net counting with.
Some of these boxes also have very small holders. You couldn't really put any oil into the holder. The holder is specially designed.
The box has its own holders.
No, I mean like the boxes at the bottom. Where do you put the cups in?
Usually they have, out of the ones I have, I just have a piece of metal and you put your own menorah in there. Okay, and okay, that's the menorah, so to speak.
You can't really put oil into that. So you can't put oil into those holders. Right.
So this made for candle, made for the glasses.
You really liked it in the glasses, not for you.
Yeah, that's true. All right, I have a different place. I have where I don't know what I did wrong. How to turn it back on. Hell, there must be some way to do that, right? To speak.
We heard the Rav. We heard the Rav. We just don't see him now.
Okay. Okay, so you'll have to survive, I guess. Get a
Okay.
picture some other time. Anyways, okay, next. This next halach is very important. Matzah Shabbos emad likin b'ner Chanukah she'ein nenem l'oira. You cannot make Havdalah on Ner Chanukah because the whole Havdalah, the whole union of Havdalah is to benefit, and the purpose of the Ner Chanukah is not to benefit. So they cancel each other out. Vein mevorchim al ner ad she'oisa l'oira, and you're not allowed to make a bracha until you gain benefit. Ritzad leimer shembech tchila al adlakas ner Chanukah ein lahavdal aleim acharka. Mitam kos v'shulchan aruch. Aval yochol avorach tchila al ner Chanukah lahavdala, and then lechaboisa v'zrach shel adlika lemitzvos ner Chanukah. What an idea! You light the Havdalah candle, which can't be a candle, it has to be not a navuka, it has to be a candle. Put it out, and then you use it for Hanukkah candles. Why? Since you use it for one mitzvah, let's use it for another mitzvah. Since we are going to, we want to have the Hanukkah candles lit first, so we can't do this. But what's the concept? A person did a mitzvah with something, they should do another mitzvah with it. What kind of concept is that? This is we're green people? What is this? What's the concept? Yeah, so it's I'm asking the same. I didn't ask you if we ever had this elsewhere. It's in the Gemara, this idea. We're not over on it. We're just not using it.
Once you started using something for mitzvahs,
And I did it, and I finished with it.
carry on using it.
The answer is, and this is very important, this is relevant to what we discussed a little bit last week. the item becomes elevated. And that asks of us to be used. Is there any demand? It's not a halacha. It's just a proper yachas to give to it. I was yesterday someplace, and there was a bunch of people that were students in that place, and somebody was doodling on Kisvei HaKodesh, something photostated, and then it ended up in the garbage. And I was asked, Barabim, is this allowed to be in the garbage? Now, it's a very tricky question because there's some person that may say that specific thing will be able to be put into the garbage. But I understood the question which I was asked. I was asked a chinuch question. It said, if you could doodle on your sefer, you're not going to relate to the sefer properly. So it's irrelevant. The halacha question is minor to the major question which we're dealing with. All right, we'll stop over here.